Hello and welcome. My name's Sissy and I'm Timothy's widow. Preparing for winter can be especially important for widows and widowers who may need to take on responsibilities that they previously shared with their loved one. This can be challenging, especially if it's the first winter season without your spouse. So, today we're going to cover some tips to help you get ready for the winter season. Men, ladies, you can do this. So let's get started. Tip number 1, be aware of changing weather forecasts. Now where I'm at today, it's 80 degrees out, partly cloudy, and there might be the chance of rain tonight. But the thing that we need to remember is that with the changing of the seasons, we also get changing weather. So get into the habit now of monitoring those weather forecasts. Be informed on changing weather conditions, incoming storm possibilities, and their potential for extreme weather change and damage potential. Be prepared for storm conditions that have the potential to knock out power and for those that may bring hazardous driving conditions. Now, living in the South, I'm not so much worried about the snow impact, but I grew up in the North, so I have seen it all and driven in it all. But with a little bit of preparation ahead of time, you can weather any type of storm that comes through your area. Tip number 2, check your home heating and air conditioning systems. You'll want to ensure that both your heating and air conditioning systems are in good working order, especially if you live in a part of the country like I do, where even during the winter months, you can be relying on your air conditioning system. You'll want to have your systems professionally inspected and serviced if necessary. Change the air filters and make sure that you have a supply of extra filters for the season. If you know what companies serviced your systems in the past, give them a call and find out when the last time was that they were serviced so that you can get it scheduled now. If you need a company, go ahead and Google and check those reviews. Then, pick a few reputable ones and give them calls for price comparisons and information. You'll want to know, what do they charge for a cleaning maintenance call? Also, find out if they have a monthly service plan available. I used to work for a home heating and air conditioning company back home, and they offered a monthly contract plan, which basically meant that you were paying a little out of your budget each month for one yearly service and cleaning for your systems. With today's economy, it makes much more sense to take a little bit out of your budget each month rather than all at one time. Also, find out, in the event that an emergency call would be needed, what would they charge? Also, if you have any questions about the operation of your system, make sure you have a list of those handy when they do come out to service it, so that if there's anything that you feel you need to know, you can take care of it now. So, as you can see, now is the time to get your cleaning and service scheduled before the weather takes a sharp turn and while you can still get that service scheduled in. While we're talking about making sure that your heating and air conditioning systems are serviced, that brings us to tip number 3, which is to stock up on heating fuel. If you use a furnace, wood stove, or other heating source, make sure that you have enough fuel to last the season. Stock up on firewood. Arrange for fuel deliveries as needed, and make sure that you stay up to date on the weather and schedule any needed fuel deliveries in advance. You'll want to try to keep at least half a tank if there are going to be any extended cold or freeze spells in the forecast. Tip number 4, emergency heating options. Have a backup plan for heating, just in case of a power outage or a malfunctioning heating system. Consider purchasing a generator or investing in a portable space heater. If your home has a fireplace, be ready to use it. Make sure it's been cleaned recently and that you have plenty of logs. Tip number 5, prepare for power outages. Winter storms can cause power outages, so know when they're going to be arriving, how severe they might be, and how long they might last. Some items to consider having on hand would be flashlights and batteries. Consider chargeable flashlights. I have several. They work wonderful. If you're going to use candles, make sure to have working lighters. Also, have a supply of extra blankets and winter clothing ready to pull out just in case you need to put them on to stay warm. Next, make sure to have a supply of non-perishable food items. This would be things such as crackers, bread, butter, Jell-O cups, things of that nature. Also, for beverages, make sure to have water, cold coffee, iced tea, Pepsi, juice, whatever it is that you like to drink. Also, don't forget your little furry child. Make sure to have a supply of pet food and water for them as well. Next, make sure that your prescriptions are refilled and have any additional medicine items in stock just in case you need them. Make sure to charge all of your electronics prior to the storm. Consider getting some portable power banks for your phone. Have a radio with supply of batteries. Depending on the length of the storm, you may want to conserve on the use of your phone. Having a radio can come in handy so that you can listen to music and you can stay up to date with the weather. Next, consider having at least half a tank of car gas. Now, nobody wants to drive during a winter storm, but in case of an emergency, you'll be able to get in your car and not have to worry about the gas. And last, if you can, invest in a battery-powered or generator backup system. Speaking of driving in winter weather, tip number 6 is winterize your car. If you have a vehicle, make sure it's winter ready with good tires, brakes, and any other needed maintenance. Always take with you an emergency kit, which would be warm or extra clothing and shoes, water, snacks, flashlights, extra power banks for your phone, and a list of emergency contacts just in case your phone isn't working. Before you set out, make sure to have a full tank of gas or at least half a tank. And of course, learn how to handle your vehicle in winter driving conditions. Tip number 7 is make a list and stock up on those essentials. Create a stockpile of essential items just in case you can't get out and about after a winter storm comes through and the power hasn't come back on, or it has but it's still unstable. So make sure to have those non-perishable food items, bottled water and beverages, medications, extra toiletries, adequate supply of pet food. Having this stockpile can help you weather through any storm or unexpected disruption. Tip number 8, have appropriate winter clothing. Now, my husband and I had differing ideas on what appropriate winter clothing was. But you have to remember, I grew up in the North while he spent most of his life in the South. So let's discuss making sure that you have appropriate winter clothing if you do live in the South. First of all, you want to have a warm winter coat available. Consider a longer length with a detachable hood. And by this, I do not mean a lightweight jacket that you pull over a sweater or some type of pullover sweat jacket type of thing. My husband tried to do this several times when it was very windy, like 30 degrees out, rain, sleet, snow mix, and he thought that was appropriate winter clothing. It is not. You want to stay as warm and dry as possible if you have to go outside, even if it is just to walk to your car in the parking lot when you're leaving work or if you're going to the grocery store. Next, you're going to want to have multiple sets of gloves and mittens and hats and scarves. Why do I say multiple sets? Well, if you have to go outside and the first set gets wet, you're definitely going to have a dry set to change into. And if the electricity goes out, you won't have any way to dry them quickly. So having multiple sets on hand is a great thing. Next, you also want to have a set of boots, waterproof shoes, hiking boots, and have extra sets of those and socks. Again, if you have to go outside, you want to change out of them and into warm, dry ones as quickly as possible. Also, consider having a supply of those packet hand warmers that you can find in the store on hand. They really do help warm up just a little bit. Now, as somebody who spent a lot of her teenage years outside snowmobiling and ice skating, you're going to be very thankful if you have a couple of these items, especially if the power goes out for a couple of days, like it did down here in Texas. What was that? A couple years ago, when the power grid was completely out of whack and people were losing power for days and pipes were freezing, and yeah, it got cold. So even if you only use these items a couple times a year, you're going to be thankful that you have them on hand. Plus, once you do have them, they'll last for a very, very long time if you're not using them on a daily basis. And remember, layering your clothing really does help keep you warmer longer. Tip number 9 is to keep an emergency contacts list handy. Back in the day, before cell phones, we used to carry around little pocket-sized address books with important phone numbers and information in, just in case of an emergency. Even today, it's wise to maintain the same type of list, but on paper. So your emergency contact list could include people like friends, family, and neighbors, your place of work, your doctor, your pharmacy, your vet, and local services such as heating repair, fuel delivery, and even grocery delivery. You want to keep this list on paper handy, just in case you need assistance. You never know when your phone is not going to work and you have to borrow somebody else's. Or, worst case scenario, somebody has to come into your home to help you out in an emergency and you are not able to speak and help them gain access to your phone. So I always keep a list of emergency contacts hanging on my refrigerator, as well as keeping a list of these numbers in my wallet, just in case. Tip number 10, plan for snow removal. While snow may be pretty to look at, it does need to be removed from around the entrance into your home, your driveway, and perhaps sidewalks. Arrange for snow removal services if needed. If you're physically able to do it yourself, invest in a snowblower. Don't forget to have a broom, shovel, and salt to help keep the entranceways clean and safe. Remember to have a broom and an ice scraper handy to clean your car windows too. Keeping walkways and driveways clear is essential for your safety. Tip number 11, plan ahead for loneliness. Because we tend to spend much more time indoors during the winter months, we can sometimes experience feelings of loneliness. This can be even more challenging after the loss of a spouse. Plan now for activities to keep you busy and socially connected. Consider staying connected with friends and family. Look for local and online social groups as well as activities to engage with others. Consider hosting a weekly game night with your neighbors or church members who may also be lonelier during the winter season. Commit to a new hobby that you can do at home at any time. Teach yourself to play a musical instrument. Engage in painting or drawing. Grab some adult coloring books and colored pencils or special markers. Buy a latch hook rug kit. Take a class at your community college or sign up for an online course. Buy some ready-to-paint ceramics or be ready with books, movies, and TV shows that you may have missed or that you want to watch again. I want to thank you so much for joining me today while we took a look at some winter preparedness tips. I know it can seem daunting to think of doing it all by yourself, but with careful thought and planning, you can do it. I always close out my video by asking you, the viewer, to like, share, and subscribe so that you'll know when new content is available. As always, please feel free to comment on any of my videos. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know if you have any other winter tips. Sharing is caring. And last, don't forget about the polls that I have in the community section. Your participation really does help my channel grow. I've been Sissy, and I am wishing you much hope, light, and love. Until the next time, my friend, take care.